Hi guys, my name is Nonima Tikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about who advocates Baloyi no advocating Nisi. Hi Bo! Hi Bo! Guys, Senzo Meyiwa case is a crime scene on its own that I can tell you for free. Crime scene on its own, Sanalam. Baloyi dodges metadata, questions Nisi, blocks potential evidence trap in court because he was trying to trap Musisilia there. So another tense moment unfolded in court when Advocate Nisi stopped Advocate Baloyi from using photos linked to accused number one, Musisilia, regarding the pointing out and stuff like that. Do you remember those things, right? These weren't just any photos. They could have shown key details about his arrest, maybe his condition at the time. But here is what the twist is. Here is the twist, right? Nisi wasn't objecting to the photos themselves. He was objecting for their metadata. That's what he was asking for. Metadata is the digital DNA of an image. It tells you when, where, and how a picture was taken. And Nisi knew that if Baloyi pictures didn't match the state timeline, they'd crumble under scrutiny. So when Nisi raised the issue, Baloyi tried to brush it off, saying the metadata was irrelevant. And that's what he does. And Judge Rata, hence we call him a biased judge, because tell me why Judge Rata is doing and he does not question. Why is Judge Rata not questioning these things, allowing them to move like that swiftly? But let's be real, if the pictures were real, why not just show them with their metadata? Why not show them with that? Why, when it's being questioned, Baloyi is dismissing? Why is Baloyi always dismissive, just like that judge? That single click of information could confirm the truth or expose manipulation, because accused number one was stating the pictures were only taken one time. After we came back from the so-called pointing out there were no pictures that were taken, Baloyi is insisting that Sikhathebe said there were pictures that were taken. And this one is like, that's not what happened. The pictures, this was me standing this way, and this was me standing that way. And some of these, I was not wearing the mask. Some I was wearing the mask. So you can't tell me that it's from a different time. It was the same time. So he argued that I choose number one. But Baloyi was not having it. So by calling it irrelevant, Baloyi basically told the court, don't look too closely. Don't mind them. These ones are crazy. That's what he was saying. And that's exactly what a good prosecutor should not do. He is a bad prosecutor, George Baloyi. He is a bad prosecutor, George Baloyi. What we saw there was a prosecutor dodging technical verification and a defense counsel catching it in time, including Musisilia, the accused. He was also catching on the nonsense that was being done there. If those photos were truly genuine, Baloyi would have proudly shown their metadata. He would not have a problem with that. He would not be dismissive about it. The fact that he didn't only fuel the fact that he did not only show them, it fuels suspicion about how evidence has been handled in this case of Senzo Meyiwa. Like everything about the Senzo Meyiwa case, guys, is so sad. It is quite a sad state of affairs, because wait, what is this? What are you saying to me? It was a critical courtroom moment, and it fits perfectly into the coverage of how Nisi keeps catching Baloyi out on technical inconsistencies. It's fine. That is why we are busy unpacking exactly what happened and then deal with it point by point, because the photos and the metadata are very crucial. During that cross-examination, George Baloyi relied on those photographs allegedly taken during and after Musi did the point out. Possibly they are supposed to be showing him his injuries or items that were taken from him, whatever. that they needed to show. But those photos carry metadata, digitally fingerprints showing when, where, and with what device they were taken. The metadata could also prove or disprove whether the photos were taken on the date police claim, whether they were manipulated or staged later because it looked like it at some point, and whether the device that took them belonged to SAPS or someone else. So metadata is important. It is not a small detail. It's what separates real evidence from fabricated evidence. Why is Baloyi having a problem when such issues are being raised? Why is that a problem for him? And I love Mrs. Move, the perfect objection that she did there. When Baloyi tried to tender the pictures or question Muzi Sibiya based on them, Advocate Mnisi sharply, as always, objected. He raised concerns about the metadata because without verifying it, those images could not be trusted as authentic or as accurate reflections of when and where they were taken. In essence, Nisi was saying, don't just show us pictures. Don't just show us pictures. What you need to do, show us proof they were taken when you claim they were taken. Baloyi was running away with that. That was a very powerful objection that day, I promise you, and it goes straight to the heart of digital forensic integrity, which Baloyi was refusing with. There's a lot of things that he's been refusing it here. And his reaction, Baloyi's reaction, it was to downplay and deflect everything that was happening. But instead of addressing the metadata directly, Baloyi downplayed its importance, guys, insisting that the metadata issue was irrelevant. He avoided explaining why the metadata wasn't presented with the photos, where it had been analyzed or whether it has been analyzed, whether it contradicted the state version of when the pictures were taken. By calling it irrelevant, Baloyi essentially was asking the court to ignore technical truth, a common move when a prosecutor fears the metadata might expose inconsistencies or tampering. And it's a common move for Baloyi. That's what he does in that courtroom. Why is the metadata matters and why Baloyi's response is dangerous? In a modern investigation, metadata is part of the chain of custody. It proves authenticity. If the metadata doesn't match the police version, it could show the pictures were taken on a different day, the images were edited or uploaded later, or even that the photos came from a private phone, not SAPS property. So when Baloyi brushed it off, he wasn't just skipping a small detail. He was dodging digital proof that could expose contradictions in the police's story. And Advocate Mnisi knew that. He was a prosecutor. What that means in court, Baloyi's refusal to deal with the metadata and his inconsistency or his insistence that it's irrelevant shows a prosecutor defending the state's narrative at all costs, even when the evidence itself begs for technical scrutiny. Mnisi's objection forced the issue into the open, and even though the judge didn't insist on examining the metadata, it now stands on record that the authenticity of those pictures remain unverified. That could become important later if Mnisi argues fabrication or manipulation of evidence. Because that's what we are dealing with here in this case. That is exactly what we are dealing with. I was so embarrassed on behalf of the court and on behalf of Judge Rata and also on behalf of Baloyi. Everything, it was just bad. Once again, it was Mnisi standing between the state and a potential evidentiary disaster. And the bigger question remains, why is Baloyi so afraid of the digital truth? Because in 2025, metadata never lies, but sometimes people do. That's what's happening there. You are watching this from the Noni M podcast, where courtroom drama meets digital evidence. And please make sure you do not forget to like, to share, to comment, and most importantly, you are subscribed on the channel. Please subscribe if you are not yet subscribed. I will see you on our next video when we continue to break down everything that happens in that Judge Rata's courtroom. Enjoy your day. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.